is now 7 o'clock. We'll call to order the Seminole Airport Authority roll call.
Jeff Griffin.
Here.
Bill Watland.
Here.
Tim Poplin.
Here.
John Kramer.
Here.
Chris Anson. Gary Houck. Larry Church.
Here.
Dee Dee Patterson.
Here.
Shane Fisher. We have a quorum.
Consideration action of consent agenda.
Move to approve.
Second. Roll call.
Jeff Griffin.
Yes.
Bill Watland.
Yes.
Tim Poplin.
Yes.
John Kramer.
Yes.
Larry Church.
Yes.
Dee Dee Patterson.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Are there any appearances or petitions from the audience for the Airport Authority? If not, there being no further business, a motion to adjourn is in order.
So move. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, so ordered. That brings us to the Seminole Gas Authority. Roll call.
John Kramer.
Here.
Tim Poplin.
Here.
Dee Dee Patterson.
Here.
Bill Watland.
Here.
Jeff Griffin.
Here.
Gary Houck. Larry Church.
Here.
Chris Anson. Shane Fisher. We have a quorum.
Consideration action of consent agenda.
Move to approve. Second.
Roll call.
John Kramer.
Yes.
Tim Poplin.
Yes.
Dee Dee Patterson.
Yes.
Bill Watland.
Yes.
Jeff Griffin.
Yes.
Larry Church.
Here. Excuse me.
Motion passes.
Are there any appearances or petitions from the audience for the Gas Authority? If not, there being no other business, a motion to adjourn is in order.
So move. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We move now to the Seminole Utilities Authority. Roll call.
Dee Dee Patterson.
Here.
John Kramer.
Here.
Chris Anson. Bill Watland.
Here.
Jeff Griffin.
Here.
Tim Poplin.
Here.
Gary Houck. Larry Church. Shane Fisher. We have a quorum.
Consideration action of consent agenda.
Move to approve. Second.
Roll call.
Dee Dee Patterson.
Yes.
John Kramer.
Yes.
Bill Watland.
Yes.
Jeff Griffin.
Yes.
Tim Poplin.
Yes.
Larry Church.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Are there any appearances or petitions from the audience? If not, there being no further business on the agenda, motion to adjourn is in order.
So move. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, so ordered. Next, we move to the Seminole City Council. Roll call.
Chris Anson. Dee Dee Patterson.
Here.
Gary Houck. Larry Church.
Here.
Tim Poplin.
Here.
Bill Watland.
Here.
John Kramer.
Here.
Jeff Griffin.
Here.
Shane Fisher. We have a quorum.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let us pray. Isagre misi in miske hanga gigodahi, umikasap kene kwichi de medo moment potolofa Seminole, moment po estiamolgen, idinoki kachakidis, moment chimi isagre misi ano gitskas. O God, whose mercies cannot be numbered, accept our prayer of thanks for the city of Seminole and for all our people. Let us love one another, for you, God, our love. Amen.
Amen.
Consideration and action of the consent agenda.
Move to approve. Second.
Roll call.
Chris Anson. Oh, sorry. Dee Dee Patterson.
Yes.
Larry Church.
Yes.
Tim Poplin.
Yes.
Bill Watland.
Yes.
John Kramer.
Yes.
Jeff Griffin.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Are there any appearances or petitions from the audience? Yes, ma'am. The queen of the city of Seminole.
I'm not the queen, that would be Jody Baxter, I joke with her, but she is the queen, so, or maybe the princess, but that's it. I just wanna say thank you so much to all of our volunteers and all the people that came out for the 4th. We had to do our little plan B, and if it wasn't for the city employees and the volunteers that we had, it would have had to been plan C to cancel it. And so, thank you to everybody that was able to come out, it still turned out really well. Lot less crowd, but it was still done, so thank you guys so much, I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Any other appearances? If not, then we move into approvals and acceptances, bids, resolutions. Number one, consideration possible action to approve resolution number 2016-15, a resolution supporting continued participation in the Oklahoma Main Street program in the 2016-17 with a specific goal of revitalizing Seminole's historic central business district using the Main Street four-point approach to economic revitalization.
Good evening, I'm Lacey Butner with Seminole Main Street. This is just a resolution that we do every year with Oklahoma Main Street program. So it's just showing that our city of Seminole is supporting our program.
Are there any questions? If not, is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Roll call.
Dee Dee Patterson,
Yes.
Larry Church,
Yes.
Tim Poplin,
Yes.
Bill Wantland,
Yes.
John Kramer.
Yes.
Jeff Griffin.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Number two, consideration and possible action to approve resolution number 2016-16, a resolution whereby the city council endeavors to enhance facilities at Sportsmans Lake by dedicating fees collected in association with long-term camping toward providing improvements to Sportsmans Lake facilities in addition to currently budgeted funds.
This is something that's been done annually. We've not, we've never allowed one council to bind the following council, so we do this annually to make sure that everything's above board.
Move to approve.
Second. Roll call.
Dee Dee Patterson,
Yes.
Larry Church,
Yes.
Tim Poplin.
Yes.
Bill Wantland,
Yes.
John Kramer.
Yes.
Jeff Griffin.
Yes.
Motion passes.
We move into current business. Item number three, consideration possible action to approve the transfer or sale at a nominal fee of land located on Wilson Street east of Milt Phillips Avenue to the Seminole Economic Development Council.
Yes, sir. Hopefully you got a map in your attachment. As you know, we have been trying to, with the issue that came up last month, is get rid of some of our mowing responsibilities. I was approached by the man that bought the land just to the south of Mazzio's Pizza. It's for years it's been a used car dealership and maybe a smoke shop at one point, vapor. He bought that building and he wants to expand it further to the east and make it a much more lucrative, much national chain type retail venue. In order to do that, as you know, we've got pretty stringent floodplain policies. He would need significant amount of land to be able to do that. So what we are proposing is a transaction between the city of Seminole and SEDC, the terms of which have not really even started to begin to firm up. I think this was more of an interest discussion than it was for an actual contract to be presented. But if you're interested, the hatched area in your attachment, which, and this is a guess, we've not surveyed it, but I would guess about another 2 acres just to the east of that property would be necessary for him to be able to make the flood structures that would be needed to move the dirt around and to get a lot big enough to build the restaurant, or I mean the retail operation that he's wanting to do.
So does the existing property run to the east side of the proposed property?
Yes.
That would go all the way back to the.
Wait a minute, to the
walking
east side?
path.
So the proposed property butts up against the property that the
Yes.
person owns?
Yes.
And it'd go all the way to the walking trail, is that right?
No, sir. It won't. Actually, there's the Magnolia Creek, if I remember right. No, you're right. It does actually cross there. No, you're going to stop probably I'm gonna say in the neighborhood of 85 to 100 feet short of the walking trail.
It looks like it's almost in between what used to be or still is Dye's Auto Repair or
Right.
Collision Repair and the tire shop.
Right.
Looks like it's almost right between those two.
So approval at this point is just to approve the transfer of title to SCDC. The details, that'll have to be worked out.
Right, and we'll come back to you for the ultimate transaction. Right now, we just needed to know, before we ordered a survey and did all the cost involved from an SEDC side, we wanted to make sure that the city was willing to consider such a transaction.
Brad, how should Jeff and I approach this, since we're on SEDC?
Terms aren't even decided yet,
No,
correct?
no, this is more of,
I would probably go ahead and have you abstain from voting on this. We don't need a supermajority, so go ahead and vote, but I would encourage you to abstain.
Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Roll call?
Dee Dee Patterson,
Abstain.
Larry Church,
Yes.
Tim Poplin.
Yes.
Bill Watland,
Yes.
John Kramer,
Yes.
Jeff Griffin.
Abstain.
Motion passes.
Item number 4, this is on the addendum to the agenda. Item number 4, consideration and possible action to approve the park maintenance agreement allowing participation from the public in assisting with maintenance of the city's parks. This matter we did discuss at the last meeting.
yes, sir. At our last meeting, we had talked about the possibility of, rather than selling some of the parks that were the subject of last meeting, we talked about, and there were several citizens that had talked about their wishes to be able to mow the parks that were close to them. So I've asked Brad, and what you see in front of you is the potential agreement between the homeowners that surround those parks and in effect, making sure that they get those mowed or maintained, and that if there's any problem with the park, that they at least let us know, notify us. So what I'm looking for tonight is basically this boilerplate to be approved. Once we do that, we'll go out with our own Adopt a Park campaign, and then when they come back in, at least we'll have a document to hand them that they can execute.
Does this affect our insurance in any way, or are we liable in any way?
I don't think so. One of the provisions in the contract or the agreement is that they would hold us harmless for any liability issues that might occur with their, participation in the project. And they would have to provide their own equipment as far as mowing and things of that nature, so we wouldn't be providing any equipment to them.
So that would stand up in court then?
Well, I'm always hesitant to answer that question, Dee Dee, but it sure is going, everybody, we're adopting highways and lots of other, public improvements or a public property, so I'm just going to hide behind that, I guess, and remain silent, but it's...
Well, you could point out that there are courts that would declare that tomorrow is not Wednesday.
If you were the judge, Bill, I know that they wouldn't have a prayer. But it's just a basic agreement, and we put together as just some basic provisions in it. We might have to adjust it a little bit. I actually overlooked a provision in there. Talking to Mike, if there's any maintenance issues with regard to any of the equipment, like playground equipment, that would be something that the city would deal with rather than the people that would mow, of course. So I don't think I put that in there, but that would be understood. I don't even know, what that would consist of, but I understand there's some equipment out on the premises. So
So we're basically just talking about mowing and weed eating.
Basically,
Grass
yeah,
maintenance?
that's correct.
Okay, not filling holes and things like
Is there a motion?
that. Motion to approve. I'll second that.
Roll call.
Dee Dee Patterson,
Yes.
Larry Church,
Yes.
Tim Poplin.
Yes.
Bill Waltman.
Yes.
John Kramer.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Item number 5.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jeff Griffin.
Yes, yes.
He just vanished from the record. Item number 5, consideration and possible action to approve the option site ground lease agreement with Branch Towers LLC for leasing a parcel of land for placement of a cell tower.
Yes, sir. We, as you know, we live in advanced times, and cell phones is an absolute necessity. We've got a young man that's been working with us for quite some time, and he's here to answer any questions you might have regarding the Branch Towers draft lease. I'm gonna tell you up front, Troy, I've got to surprise you. We came up with some questions, Mike and I did, between the time you left this morning and this evening. So can you tell me about the survey? Would you guys be willing to spring for the survey? Is that part of the? Sure, yes, sir.
Mike Troy Williams, I'm with Branch Communications. My home address is 3204 Scotts Bluff, Norman, Oklahoma. We will do a survey. Matter of fact, I showed Mike a draft drawn up today. It shows the location. The legals aren't in there yet, but they're being written. They want me to make sure everything's right. I want to show it to you guys. We don't survey the whole property, just the area where we're going, and show you the easements for the power and access. At one time, I was working with Bill about, we met out there, to use the existing drive to be there for service trucks, not heavy equipment stuff. Which you may have to have an easement or something from the school, but then during construction, we use where it's marked on the survey, that I'll provide these, once it's complete, we'll show it to you. Yes, sir. And you mentioned a couple other things that.
Okay. He might be talking about this same list. The easements on the utilities, the stockade fence, is that a problem?
No, sir.
Okay.
We mentioned, it was up to you guys, I was waiting for you guys to decide which way you want to go. Stockade fence with no barbed wire on top.
These are 5th and 6th graders.
Lots of barbed wire.
Electrified barbed wire.
No, I would say nothing that can hurt the kids, but we would like it to be an 8-foot. If you can spring for that, 8-foot makes it a lot more difficult for them to get into that.
Outside, so
Right.
you're right, though, kids feel they get creative, you know, they stand on each other.
I think I'm okay with the last two that CPIs.
What's the height of the tower?
Top height of the tower is gonna be approximately 180 feet, monopole tower, so it looks like the light poles that are around the
Well,
hill.
it's in there.
Taller, subject to final FAA approval. We have preliminary approval, but till it's final, I can't tell you the exact height, but we're trying for 180 feet.
So it will have all the caution lights and all that.
It probably will have to have red lights during the, white lights during the day, red lights at night due to the airport proximity. That's, usually you don't have to light them if they're under 200 feet, but I'm pretty sure we're gonna have to, based on our other conversations.
The guy wires, they'll all be within the 75.
Yes, sir,
Feet
this is,
boundary.
this is not a guy wire.
It won't be
tower.
guy wire.
It will look just like the light poles, which are, it's called a monopole tower. It's just like the light poles at the field
Sure.
without lights on, like
Yeah.
those. It has the antennas. And it's built for multiple years.
And each time you add a carrier, we get an extra fee on top of that. Good.
And the response time, anytime we contact the company with a problem.
We don't have
and we're putting the coloring board up now. Start.
Well, we have people that handle maintenance for us that are in-house, that are work for Brent. And if you have a problem, call me. Tulsa. We have an office in Tulsa, one in Oklahoma City, Charlotte, North Carolina, and Hiles. But we're really local guys. I work out of my house most of it, well, usually not field.
Well, our other one is solid on the shop.
Well, I know these competition. Do you guys build yourself, start them? I'd be hot to. Sorry. I'd be great.
You're fine. If I could, for the sake of the public that don't have the benefit of the sketch here, what we're talking about is a monopole cell tower just behind, I would call it behind home plate at the Northwood baseball field. So it's kind of back into the trees behind the Northwood school. And did you say 108? 180 feet tall, so it is going to be it's going to be tall, but it kind of blends in with the light poles that we've got at the baseball field, is my understanding. I did have a chance to talk to some of the people that live there on Carson. There are no objections that I got from them. So if you choose to make a motion, I would ask that you make it where you can give the city manager authorization to sign the contract with the mayor out of town for some time. That would give us a chance to get this started, and you may also make it contingent upon the staff doing the review and inclusions of the things that we just talked about.
You'll full set of plan. That's what we do as well.
Great.
And you have to sign on this.
Can we get a Chiefs flag on it?
I would love to put a chief. But they won't let us do that.
Yeah.
How many carriers could
You
that
can,
tower?
you normally build a site like that, it holds 4 carriers. It all depends on loading. Most of the carriers, when they lease a space, they overload it for 12 antennas and tower mounted amplifiers and all this stuff. They only put up a third of it. So you get 4 carriers on it. And also the monitor tower over there, we have to get 5, which would be very good to do that.
From a standpoint, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Alfred Gacius, I'm the new superintendent here in town. So being proximity, I was out of the office today,
Yes.
I apologize for that. Being in proximity to the school and our future plans, including a wireless network within the school, in your experience, does the frequencies that your tower generates, does it interfere with wireless networks within the buildings nearby?
No, sir, the frequencies are all licensed frequencies. What do you want Wi-Fi?
We're looking at it, yes. It'll be within our own integrated system within the building.
No, if you have a problem, all you do is have to let us know. We can check, is it way too good? If we're causing the problem, we can filter the antennas, but we shouldn't because of the licensed frequencies.
Okay.
Sorry, should ask you more about that.
That's okay.
Other questions?
Yes, sir. Oh,
Is there a motion?
Move to accept.
With the
Need his verbiage.
approval for the city.
Staff reviews and the authorization for the city manager to sign in lieu of the mayor. That be acceptable? That be the motion?
Yes.
Second.
Roll call?
Dee Dee Patterson,
Yes.
Larry Church,
Yes.
Tim Poplin.
Yes.
Bill Wantland.
Yes.
John Kramer.
Yes.
Jeff Griffin.
Yes.
Motion passes.
That brings us
Thank you.
to reports. Mayor is not here, so city manager.
I just want to congratulate the chamber. Amy, you guys did a great job and last minute swing there. Did a good job. We had a good turnout. Everyone seemed to have a lot of fun. The fireworks were great as usual. Other than that, I would report that we did have our last day with our inmates, so we are now flying solo, and we're doing the best we can. And again, I think I said this last time, but we really don't know what the full impact is going to be until we go for a few months without them. But we've lost 44, in the neighborhood of 44,000 man-hours of work that is done on city crews. And so I suspect we're going to have a lot of bumps, and hopefully you'll be patient with us as we try to navigate through that. But we've got a bunch of professionals, and I know that they're up to the task. It's just going to be some rough patches. I know that will be there. But other than that, we got a sales tax report this month for the immediate last month, and it's still leaking. We were down about 6% for that month. If that continues, which I suspect if it continues, you'll have a plan of adjustment for your budget probably by the end of November for us to make further cuts. But right now, we think that the budget you just adopted is in good shape. No need to adjust it as of yet. Lots of good news on the way. There's a lot of good news. Some of it I probably shouldn't share, right, Lee? Right. Okay. So I'll end with that. Thank you.
City Attorney. Council members. I'm in Ward 1, and I just want to say, Amy, 4th of July did turn out okay, and the fireworks were fantastic. We enjoyed it. Larry?
Just support what you said. That sounds great. I enjoyed it from my front porch, I guess. So it was great.
Ward 2, John Kramer. Ward 3, Jeff Griffin.
The fireworks were great. Actually, I saw people stopping on the highway out on Highway 9 to watch, which probably isn't the safest thing to do, but
They're parked in the park. You don't understand. I'm thinking these people are nuts.
but you're right. I wondered if if I had a tow truck company, I think I would have staged myself somewhere around there. I do have one concern. I've had a few calls from concerned citizens about stray animals and the lack of, I think, support from the animal control of being willing to maybe pick those animals up. Some are skunks, others are a multitude of cats. That is a concern for all of our citizens, so hopefully they'll be diligent and be a little more responsive. One person told me they had to spend 30 minutes listening to a lecture of why they should be willing to live with skunks. I find that inappropriate and not acceptable. We know skunks carry rabies. This is a location that kids walk by, and hopefully we can get that straightened out and cured, because our citizens deserve to be able to go outside and not be a little worried about what they're going to run into.
I haven't seen a skunk in a while, but I've seen lots of stray cats. And I've been told that we don't have an adequate policy or whatever about cats in the city, stray cats in the city.
Jeff, I can tell you that I have probably signed more tickets for running at large than I ever have. It seems like this year it's coming from the animal control people. Now, this is primarily dogs, and fact is, I think I don't know if there's some on the docket tomorrow. Haven't had any issue. Haven't had any, of course, with cats or anything like that, but I know there's been a bunch. Because I end up getting the complaints too, so usually from the pet owners.
I haven't had any on dogs. Yeah. And cats multiply like crazy. So
Right.
if you get a few out there, they just, they're not quite rabbits, but they're close to it. And I think that's the problem. There's probably pockets around that that's occurred, but,
And these are all dogs, so that probably makes sense.
Well, the people at the animal control shelter have been very, very helpful. And we have, well, we don't euthanize animals, but they, you know, as they can find homes for the ones that I've been bringing in, they're glad to do it.
It's a problem. I mean, you know, it's a problem everywhere. It's not just Seminole.
Oh, I have upset neighbors.
But but the skunks do concern me, you know, especially about where kids are gonna be. That's a concern.
Well, those guys live in the sewer mostly, don't they?
Well, they've supposedly
Early
buried
in the
themselves
morning.
under some concrete, and that's where they're living, so. That's all I have.
We will make sure it gets addressed.
Ward 3, Tim Poplin.
I got 2 rabbits in the backyard, and I'll let you know how many it turns out to be.
Probably 30.
No, I've had skunks behind my house. There's a bunch of woods back behind there, and, you know, and it's kind of the time of the year, the mating season. And what I found out that, they come up for the dog food and stuff that people are putting out. We have bird feeders, and they, for some reason, like bird seed, but I just bought me a trap, and I catch them and take them for a ride. But anyway, that's all I have.
Can I give them your
You
number?
safely release them out in the
Skunk, I'll
country.
get 'em.
You put them in the trunk?
Yeah.
No.
Years ago, my mother used to feed skunks at her back porch, and she got known as the skunk lady.
Oh, my.
They say if you throw a blanket over the trap, they won't spray in the dark. Don't believe it. And it's against the law to shoot now.
Ward 4, D.D. Patterson.
Well, I'm going to say something on behalf of Steve and his crew. Let's bear in mind that we are working short-handed because we've lost our prisoners and so on. So bear with them. They may not respond as fast as they have in the past, and let's understand that because we'll get through this.
Yeah.
We'll get through it. But it is going to be a trying time for all of us. We know that. That's all I have.
Well, that takes care of the remarks. Next, we are having an executive session, consideration possible action to enter into executive session
So moved.
under Oklahoma Statute Title 25, Section 307.B.4, confidential communication between a public body and its attorney concerning a pending investigation, claim, or action.
And I'm still moving. So moved.
Roll call.
D.D. Patterson?
Yes.
Larry Church?
Yes.
Tim Poplin?
Yes.
Bill Waltman?
Yes.
John Kramer?
Yes.
Jeff Griffin?
Yes.
Motion passes.
We'll take just a couple of minutes recess and then go into executive session.